Practices Act. Doesn't that sound good? I mean, the letter scared me. I almost wrote myself a check for $92, but it was the power of an attorney writing the letter versus Darnell writing that same letter. Our plan also offers document and contract review, up to 10 pages. They say the bold print giveth, and the fine print taketh away. So have your lawyers review your contracts before you sign your name to them. We also provide a last will and testament. We know that most folks don't have a last will and testament because typically it costs about $500 to have an attorney draw one up tailored to fit your needs. But Prepaid Legal's taken away their financial excuse. We give you one just for trying out our services. The second area of coverage is motor vehicle legal services. This was effective only 15 days after enrollment. They're going to give you assistance with moving traffic violations. Now, I've used this one most often. I received a speeding ticket out of state, but I called my provider lawyer, and with their assistance, my points were dropped, my fine was dropped. I only paid court costs, which are only $35. They're also going to give you assistance with certain motor vehicle-related criminal charges, personal injury, and perhaps driver's license assistance. All of this simply because we have access to this prepaid legal membership. Now, we're not saying that you were driving drunk or you stole a car or wasn't registered, because this service is not set up for bad people to do worse things. It's set up because bad things happen to good people too. Our third area of coverage is our trial defense program. If you or your spouse are named in a civil lawsuit or a job-related criminal lawsuit, Prepaid Legal gives you 75 hours of services your first year. That increases every single year with the fifth year with 335 hours. Now, I've never used all my 75 hours, but I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Now, services like bankruptcy, divorce, child custody aren't covered in this area of coverage, but in our fifth area of coverage. Our fourth area of coverage is our IRS audit legal services. Now, coverage begins with tax returns due April 15th of the year you're enrolled. You know, my mother retired from the Internal Revenue Service after 30 years. She says, Darnell, sometimes the auditors are asking questions they may not have the right to ask, but you may not know that if you don't know the tax codes, and there are more of them every single year. Or she says people bring in bags of receipts, getting themselves in more trouble than they were in when they were named in the audit. But not with your prepaid legal plan. You have 50 hours of services under your fourth area of coverage. On your fifth area of coverage, you get your preferred member discount. Now, I love discounts because it's not how much money you make in America, but how much money you keep. And with our preferred member discount, anything that falls outside of the normal membership coverage falls under your discounted area, where you get a 25% discount off the normal hourly rate of your law firm. And that even includes pre-existing conditions. Now, of course, they need 5 days for preparation or any court representation, and you may have to pay a retainer. But to get a discount is powerful with our prepaid legal membership. We've also added on our Legal Shield program. Now, your Legal Shield gives you 24-hour access to your law firm in emergency situations. So if you've been detained, questioned, or arrested by a law enforcement officer, you have access to your law firm. If you're injured in an accident, you have access 24 hours a day, again, to your law firm. If authorities attempt to remove your child from your home or your custody, you know, a lot of folks call their bishop, their pastor, but you have a right to call your law firm. So again, this service is not set up for bad people to do worse things. So if there's drugs or alcohol, domestic violence, or bond assistance issues, that's not covered under our Legal Shield program. Let's pretend for a minute that you are my attorney, and I came to you, instead of working out an hourly rate, let's work out a monthly fee. How much would you charge me every month for you to take care of all the services that I already mentioned? I want you to provide some phone consultation for me, write letters, make phone calls for me, review my contracts, prepare a will, all the different things that we've already gone over. How much would you charge me every single month? Oh, by the way, keep a cell phone on just in case I need you at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want you to wake up, be coherent, and answer my questions. How much would you charge me every single month for all these different services? You know, most folks say thousands of dollars, or even hundreds of thousands. Well, of course, if I was a wealthy person and I had a $100 million contract, I would spend $1 million on a lawyer so I can keep the other $99 million. But the average person could never do that. The average person, probably in this economy, would have challenges paying $100 a month. So Prepaid Legal has made these services available to us for $26 a month or less, 87 cents a day, and you have access. We call it a cup of coffee, a Coke and a smile, and you have access to our services. Our second service that we provide is our Identity Theft Shield. Now, identity theft is the fastest growing white-collar crime in America today. And unfortunately, many folks are naive enough to think that it's just their credit card or financial information. But we're talking about so many different forms of identity theft. I mean, if you go to the hospital, they have your financial information. If you purchased a home, they have your financial information. If your kids have gone to school, they have your children's financial information. So our information is already out there. You can go to websites now and find out where people live, where they used to live, how much money they make. Unfortunately, are people getting jobs and other folks' social security numbers, avoiding taxes, and we're stuck with that. So let's try to call your bank with that solution. You know, it just doesn't happen. I did a presentation at the Pentagon, and a captain there lost his security clearance because his brother-in-law got a job in his name to avoid child support. So there's so many different forms of identity theft that are out there. If you Google identity theft, you'll see millions of entries there. What we've done is connected with a company called Kroll. They're the leading risk management company in the world. They were called in by the Kuwaiti government to seek out Saddam Hussein's financial network. They were called in by Enron for restructuring. And so we use them because we brought 1.5 million plus customers to the table. That's buying power to afford a company that normally countries and companies use. One, they're going to give us access to our credit report so we can see what's on there. When I first got my credit report, there was something on there for $2,000 that wasn't me. I can't imagine how long that was there or how long it would have been there if I didn't have access to my credit report through Kroll. Not only that, but they do regular monitoring, and they do this so that we can find out right away. I mean, how long do you want to wait for you to find out that something's happened to your identity? You want to know right away. And with our company, we're able to do that. And then most importantly, restoration. You know, folks spend hundreds of hours trying to restore their own identity, and they're not proficient in doing that. But with the limited power of attorney, the private investigators will go in as you are with you to restore your identity for you. And that's powerful for only additional $9.95 a month for you and your spouse. So the complete package of $35.95, you have access to both our lawyers through our prepaid legal plan and, of course, our private investigators through Kroll. Now, keep in mind, with our identity theft benefit, pre-existing matters are not covered, but a discount may be available. And of course, if you or your family member committed the fraud, then these benefits won't be available as well. But when you get your prepaid legal package in the mail, we want you to understand the benefits. So go through your package. Plus, there's so many more benefits that we didn't have an opportunity to go over today. You're going to be excited that you have access to the justice system. We all know the real color of justice in America is not black or white, but green. It's been a country club that most of us have never had membership to. You know, we've always had our rights, but most of us never had access to them. We couldn't afford them. But now that you do, get your application filled out right away. You know, see the value in it, believe in it, because once you believe in something, you become passionate about it. And once you're passionate about it, you'll feel obligated, responsible, like I do, in telling other people about it. As a matter of fact, you would do this for free. You would tell a good neighbor, a good friend about this just by being a good human being. But we don't have to do it for free. We get paid a tremendous amount of money for letting people know about this great service that we get to market all across North America. And I can't think of a better person to share with you how you can reach your financial goals than the person that introduced me, mentored me from the mall to millions. This is the person who's one of the youngest millionaire club members within our company. He's a gentleman that if it wasn't for him, perhaps I'd be at the mall right now. Perhaps I would have missed out on class trips and field trips and retiring my grandmother. All the great things we've been able to do was because of the mentoring of this gentleman, and now we all have the opportunity to be mentored by him, Mr. Brian Carruthers.
Thank you so much, Darnell. Incredible. I'm personally ready to sign up for these services all over again. And now that you have actually seen what these services can do, stop before you do anything else today. Sign up for this membership immediately. I mean, I went from never using attorneys, didn't even know that Prepaid Legal did all this for people. I went from never using attorneys to now over 40 times. I am Prepaid Legal for life. So now that you know about what our company's doing, you see that there's a massive need in the marketplace. Always remember, a massive need is always followed by a massive opportunity. And that's where this opportunity comes in for you. Our company needs more mouthpieces. They need more people like you and I to get the word out to the millions of people all across North America that don't even know our services exist. And so could you use some extra income? Or would you like more time freedom? Well, let me share with you my story. I actually got involved because I was in my 20s working in a real estate career, basically working 7 days a week, 8 to faint. I don't know if you can relate to having no time freedom, no time for family, no time for friends, on the grind, nonstop. And quite frankly, I wasn't exactly happy. And I was introduced to Prepaid Legal Services by an individual who asked me a question that's changed my life ever since. He said, Brian, do you understand the concept of residual income? And I said, sure, of course. He said, well, do you have it in your life? I said, no. He said, Brian, you don't understand it because if you did, you go through a brick wall in order to get some. I said, explain what you're talking about. He said, Brian, when you stop selling houses, you stop getting paid. Most people at their jobs, they stop going to work, they also